Hey there, Booksters. Hope you're having a great day. In today's video, I wanted to take a look at control. Do you have a controlling parent or partner, or are you a controlling parent or partner? What does that do in a relationship when you are or have someone that is controlling? What kind of detriment does that do to the relationship? Also, I have a couple of questions that you can ask yourself to find out if you're controlling or not. Maybe you think like, oh, I'm not controlling at all. And then, you're answering yes to every single question. If that is the case, then I do have some solutions of how to get out of that, and then also why. That's really the way out, is discovering why we are controlling, or why am I controlling. We're going to get into all of that in this video. Hey there, Booksters, and welcome to the Booksters Club, where we find daily inspiration from the books you love. Today's featured book is The Conscious Parent by Shefali Tsabary, and today's inspirational thought comes to us on both page 195 and 196. It says, "The minute our children try to talk to us, we tend to jump in and advise them, critique them, admonish them. We are also apt to label their experiences. Why do we feel we must constantly advise our children, always impart some gem of wisdom, give our opinion on everything? I suggest the reason lies in ourselves, not in what our children require. We are simply unable to be and allow. We can't accept the as-is of the situation. Since our children didn't ask for our unsolicited opinion and didn't invite us to dominate the discussion, is it any wonder they stop engaging with us and begin hiding things from us?" Being in a relationship where someone is controlling is irritating. And if you have children and they just won't engage with you anymore, they won't talk with you anymore, it always feels like they're just, off, isolated, and they don't want to have a conversation with you. These are going to be some great questions that I'm going to ask you. If you are being controlling, you could really sever a relationship with your children that you might not be able to get back. So it's important as parents that we take on the responsibility of modeling what a healthy relationship looks like, and we take responsibility for our own actions. And if you are being controlling, this is a huge source for turning your children away from you. So it'll be really helpful to take a look at those questions. But then also, even in a partnership, it can be really frustrating to deal with someone who is being really controlling. But then it's also challenging to be the person who is controlling and not know why. Why am I controlling? I don't want to be, I just am. And is it coming from a bad place? Some people would even beg to differ that it's, coming from love. The reason why I'm controlling you is because I don't want you to make any mistakes. So, there's some real reasons why people can be controlling, not know that they're being controlling, and then not being able to stop themselves from being controlling. So nobody wants to be controlling, and nobody wants to be in a relationship with someone that is controlling. So I have some questions that you can ask yourself to discover if you're in a relationship with someone that's controlling, or if you are the controlling one. Number one, you feel exhausted in that person's company. Look, it takes a lot of energy to exert when you are trying to control that person's every move and thought. Number two, you feel intensely upset and disappointed when you're in their company. You say things like, "How could you do this to me? Why would you do this?" And you start taking the things that they do personally. Number three, you're making all of the decisions. You're not allowing others to think for themselves and make any of the decisions on their own. Number four, you use guilt trips and the silent treatment often as a way to punish unwanted actions. Number five, that you often think things should be or ought to be a certain way. If you have everybody's life planned out already, then if they do something outside of that, you're like, "Oh, why'd you do that? You shouldn't have done that. It should have been like this." Number six, you get frustrated with how others are doing everything wrong. You have a right way of doing everything in your mind, and they just keep lousing it up. Number seven, you have a hard time with going with the flow. If you find that the day is just kind of unfolding and you're going like absolutely crazy because everything needs to be planned out, you might be a little bit controlling. Number 8, you're anxious about what that person is doing when you are not around or when they're not in your sight. You do a lot of snooping, a lot of spying, and that is really just a fear of being let down by other people's actions. So there's a lot of questions there that I think, a lot of people could answer yes to. And, my husband would probably be like, you are all 8. You're so controlling. And look, I relate to this topic 100%. I love to have everything all planned out and to make sure that there's no chance for anything wrong to happen. And that can create, a controlling type of a personality. But look, here's the facts and the reality. Nobody wants to be around controlling people. What happens to you if somebody tries to control you? You are going to rebel. That's what we do, right? We try to get as far away from that person as possible, as far away from that controlling energy as possible. So that's kind of what happens in situations with children, especially. If you're really controlling towards your children, then they are going to rebel and they're going to try to get away from you, kind of like the preacher's daughter situation, where they just kind of go crazy because now they're finally out of your control. And in a relationship where you have a partner and you're controlling their every move, well, that's really frustrating, because you're just like telling that person, like, you're not capable, you're not a capable human being. I have to do everything for you. Wow. And sometimes, people pick up on that kind of stuff, not in words, but in energy. We all pick up on energy. And so if that is the energy that we're throwing out at our partners, that you're not my equal and I have to do absolutely everything for you, well, they're going to start to rebel in their own way. And so it's not healthy, it's not balanced, it's not our job to think and do for other people. Everybody needs to have their own balance in what they do and experience in their own life. And so that is something that hopefully those questions were able to just shed light, like, wow, okay, I'm a little bit controlling. And then why do we do it is the real question. Why we do it is going to be the answer to how we, get ourselves out of that. We don't want to push people away. We don't want to have relationships where we are sending a message that they're not equal to us, especially if we do value them and we want our children to know we're totally believing in your capabilities, or in your spouse, like, I totally think you're my equal. We don't want to send that signal that you're not. So why do we do it then? Why are we controlling? Control is a way of dealing with fear, with anxiety of the unknown. If you had an experience when you were younger, a lot of trauma happens when you're young, because that's when you're a sponge, and then something will happen. It kind of gets magnified as you become an adult, and you start to see, like, oh man, I'm a certain way, and it forms rigidity in your mind because of things that happen in your childhood. If you were a child and something really unpredictable happened, then chances are you're going to be really uncomfortable with unpredictability. That feeling of someone being able to take the rug and just pull it out from underneath your feet at any given moment is going to create a lot of anxiety. And smart, logical people understand, proactive people understand that, oh, I can curtail all of that by just controlling everybody and everything around me. And so, it's like, I found the solution. Yay. If I just control your every move, then nothing unpredictable will happen. We can't do that with people. That's not the answer. People were not meant to be controlled. It's not like a little play that's going on and you can put all the pieces in your dollhouse and everything goes a certain way. And so it's really dealing with your fear of and anxiety of the unknown, and what happened to you maybe when you were little that made you feel like, oh my gosh, the whole world is crumbling and I have nobody to rely on, and I don't like this feeling. Going back to that little child and telling them that it's okay, or that that's the way things should have been, or that look how much you've grown from that unpredictability, all those things. If you can go back and look at that trauma, but that's really where your source lies. Being controlling, you're not going to be able to work your way out of, like, putting beans in your shoes every time you control someone to punish yourself to kind of keep you from doing that. Little things like that are not going to have long lasting effects. You got to get to the root of it. The root of it is, You have this fear of the unknown. And the more that you conquer your own fear of the unknown, the more you're going to be able to trust in other people, the more you're going to be able to be comfortable with people's unpredictable behavior. People are unpredictable. Your kids are unpredictable. Your spouse is unpredictable. Co-workers, your friends, we're all unpredictable. And if you can get more comfortable with that, then you won't be as controlling. So if you had any of these tips that you really enjoyed, I would really love to hear about that. Please share with me one of the, or all of the 8 things that you're like, wow, I kind of do that. That's something that I really do. Go ahead and put the number in there, or the thing that you were like, that I kind of do that as a controlling person. I'd love to hear about that in the comments. If you had a different take on this part of the book, a different part in this book, or a different book entirely that you think should be featured here on the Booksters Club, I would love to hear about that as well in the comments. Thank you so much for clicking the like button if you valued and liked this video. Kind of helps pass the message along, and I really appreciate it. And then don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell if you're new, because I post new videos just like this every single day. See you tomorrow, Booksters. Stick around. Let's do this in this video. No, let's do this in this video. Let's do, and also control. Let's redo that. Control is the way of doing it. Okay, Andrea, future Andrea, we're going to do that part last. So don't do what happens when someone tries to control you, because you're going to do it later. So just erase all that stuff. Okay. I'm going to control everybody's move when you're trying to control their every move. Number 5, that you think, what? Think doing it wrong. No. Number 8, you are afraid, no, you're anxious about what they're doing.